Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Sufi Jana Vallabha Givardhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Givardhari Ashwadnandana Vrajajana Ranjana Ashwadnandana Vrajajana Ranjana Ramira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Giridhare Radha Giridhare Shri Jaya Radha Giridhare Radha Giridhare Shri Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva. Vande Sai Gaur Haribo, 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 Sai Gaur Haribo. Now, Ashtotters of Krishna language is Swami Prabhupada ki. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam. Jai Jai Sitanath Nitai Gaur Prem. All glories to some of the devotees. All glories to some of the devotees. All glories to some. All glories, lotus feet to Sri Guru, Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Jai Jai Srimati Shivaram Swami Namni. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Jaya Bhutale. Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namni. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravan Hare Nirvishesha Kunjavari Pashtare Arami. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning, on this warm but rainy morning, on the beautiful holy Dham of Radha Giridhari, Sri Nirvashana, we're going to read from Prabhupada Lilamrita and from Srimad Bhagavatam. And I'll just check my Vaishnava calendar, which I haven't done this morning, to see if there are any other yes, that's right. And today is okay. Yesterday was the Purnima, full moon. Today is start of new month, Govind Mas in Vaishnava calendar. And no appearance or disappearance days today, but as Mataji said, then yesterday was the appearance day of Srila Narottam Das Thakur. Srila Narottam Das Thakur ki jai. Maybe the speaker yesterday said a few words in glorification of him. But we will carry on and read from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. So this is chapter entitled Planting the Seed. And for our guests and those that may not know, then this book is called Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. Srila Prabhupada is the founder, Acharya of ISKCON, and one of his disciples, after Srila Prabhupada's departure, one of his disciples compiled a biography of his life. It's written in English, and this is that book. So this is a narration of Srila Prabhupada's life. And it's a very wonderful book, very well, beautifully written by Satsarup Maharaj, who's a wonderful writer. And it was very well researched. I've heard from my spiritual master how Srila Satsarup Maharaj would travel around gathering information for a good number of years to put into the book and generally accepted as a very authoritative and historically correct account of Srila Prabhupada's life. So it's generally, I understand in ISKCON to be, it's a BBT publication, Bhaktivedanta Book Trust publication. So it's the official biography of Srila Prabhupada. It's a very beautiful garland. Yeah, so we're very fortunate to have it. I remember reading it as a 16-year-old getting into Krishna consciousness, the small version, Ever Well-Wisher. And although I had read most of Prabhupada's small books before I'd read this, this certainly had, I mean, all of Prabhupada's books have a profound effect, but this one particularly brought me into my relationship with Srila Prabhupada in a very experiential way. I felt very close to Srila Prabhupada through reading this book, actually. So it's a very powerful book and a very important one for us to be, obviously, should go without saying that as our founder Acharya, we should be very aware of Srila Prabhupada's life activities and his teachings. And this book, it's Bhagavat because it's glorification of Bhagavan Bhakta, the devotee of Bhagavan, but devotee of the Lord. And from it, we learn how Srila Prabhupada responded and acted in circumstance according to the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy and how he applied the instructions of his spiritual master according to time, place, and circumstance, how he acted. Kumara Krishna Maharaj would say, oh, he said it to us at Sow Street once, that he notices kind of two types of like categories of Prabhupada's followers, disciples. One who tried to reenact what Prabhupada did at that time, and another who tried to apply Prabhupada's teachings, Prabhupada's principles, Prabhupada's mood to the present circumstances and understand what would he want done in this situation. He was advocating the former, but from seeing, which is applying the principles. But to see how Prabhupada acted and how Prabhupada responded to various things, it provides us knowledge, information, light, understanding on how to do that. Not in terms of imitation or artificial, imitation or mimicking or something like that, but in the sense of anukulyena krishnanushilanam, what is favorable now? What would my spiritual master want done now in this situation? So we can learn so much from Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrita. Forgive me, I'm just sharing a few appreciations of Prabhupada Lilamrita and my own thoughts on its importance. Hare Krishna. Okay, so let's read. Prabhupada. Okay, there's a good. So Prabhupada speaking now, this is a quote. Prabhupada. My Guru Maharaj used to put on tilak without a mirror. Devotee. Did it come out neat? Prabhupada. Neat or not neat? That does not matter. Yes, it was also neat. Prabhupada would then silently recite the Gayatri mantra, holding his Brahmana's sacred bread and looping it around his right thumb. He would sit erect, silently moving his lips. Silently moving his lips. His bare shoulders and arms were quite thin, as was his chest, but he had a round, slightly protruding belly. His complexion was as satiny smooth as a young boy's, except for his face, which bore the signs of age. The movements of his hands were methodical, aristocratic, yet delicate. He picked up 2 brass bells in his left hand and began ringing them. Then, lighting 2 sticks of incense from the candle near the picture of Lord Chaitanya and his associates, he began waving the incense slowly in small circles before Lord Chaitanya while still ringing the bells. He looked deeply at the picture and continued cutting spirals of fragrant smoke, all the while ringing the bells. This is very early days in Srila Prabhupada's preaching in the West. None of the boys knew what he was doing, although he did it every evening. But it was a ceremony. It meant something. The boys began to call the ceremony bells. After bells, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, it would usually be time for the evening kirtan. Some of the devotees would already be downstairs greeting guests and explaining about the Swami and the chanting. But without the Swami, nothing could begin. No one knew how to sing or drum, and no one dared to think of leading the mantra chanting without him. Only when he entered at 7 o'clock could they begin. Freshly showered and dressed in his clean Indian hand-woven cloth, his arms and body decorated with the arrow-like Vaishnava markings, Prabhupada would leave his apartment and go downstairs to face another ecstatic opportunity to glorify Krishna. The tiny temple would be crowded with wild, unbrahminical, candid, young Americans. Srila Prabhupada ki. Okay, now we'll read from Srimad Bhagavatam. Chanted on the wall. Okay, so today's verse is from 4th canto, chapter 25, entitled The Characteristics of King Puranjana. And this is text 45. Sapto pari krita dwaraha purasthasya yudve adaha pritag vishaya gatyartham tasyamya kaschanishwaraha. Please repeat. Sapto pari krita dwara purasthasya studve ataha pritag vishaya gatyartham tasyamya kaschanishwaraha. Sapto parikrita dvara purasthasya stu dve adaha pritag vishaya gatyartham tasyamyak kaschanishwaraha. Sapto parikrita dvara purasthasya stu dve adaha pritag vishaya gatyartham tasyamyak kaschanishwaraha. Rastasya studve adaha vitakshaya katyatam tasyam yakashtanishwaraha sapto paripitadvara rastasya studve adaha vitakshaya katyatam tasyam yakashtanishwaraha sapto paripitadvara rastasya studve adaha vitakshaya katyatam Tasyamya kashtanishwaraha sapto parikita dvara purastasyastu dvayadaha vitakvishaya gatyatam tasyamya kashtanishwaraha sapto parikita dvara purastasyastu dvayadaha vitakvishaya gatyatam. Please repeat. Sapta, 7. Upari, up. Kritaha, made. Dwaraha, gates. Puraha, of the city. Tasyaha, that. Tu, then. Twe, two. Adhaha, down. Pritak, different. Vishaya, two places. Gatiartam, for going. Tasyam, in that city. Yaha, one who. Kashchana, whoever. Ishwaraha, governor. Translation. Of the 9 gates in that city, 7 were on the surface and 2 were subterranean. A total of 9 doors were constructed, and these led to different places. All the gates were used by the city's governor. Purport. The 7 gates of the body that are situated upward are the 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, and 1 mouth. The 2 subterranean gates are the rectum and the genitals. The king, or the ruler of the body, who is the living entity, uses all these doors to enjoy different types of material pleasures. The system of opening different gates to different places is still evident in old Indian cities. Formerly, a capital was surrounded by walls, and one passed through various gates to go to various cities or toward specific directions. In Old Delhi, there are still remnants of surrounding walls and various gates known as the Kashmiri Gate, the Lahori Gate, etc. Similarly, in Ahmedabad, there is a Delhi Gate. The point of this simile is that the living entity wants to enjoy different types of material opulences. And to this end, nature has given him various holes in his body that he can utilize for sense enjoyment. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Agyantimirandasya Dhyananjana Shalakaya Chakshunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Taram Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vikam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vidam Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namo Gaura Pujay Namaha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinapito Jagapate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Namaskute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishvanusate Devi Kanam Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Vaevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Read the verse again. Of the 9 gates in that city, 7 were on the surface and 2 were subterranean. A total of 9 doors were constructed, and these led to different places. All the gates were used by the city's governor. So this section of Bhagavatam, Sri Narad Muni is speaking, and he's narrating the story, an allegorical story, a made-up story to prove a point, to relay understanding of Tattva Siddhanta to King Prachanabharhi. King Prachanabharhi is an ancient Vedic king, father of Prachetas. And Narada Muni is visiting his kingdom and seeing that Prachanabharhi is not very well situated due to being engrossed in the bodily concept of life, captivated by sense gratification and materialistic, fruitive activities focused on one's own personal success rather than being focused on bhakti, focused on cultivation of one's eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and fulfilling his real self-interest. The real self-interest of the living being is to understand their actual eternal identity, which is constitutionally in connection with the Supreme Lord, Bhagavan, specifically as every living entity is part and parcel of Krishna, Jivera Swarupoi Krishna Nityadas. Every living entity by constitution is subservient to Krishna and is a part and parcel of Krishna, and therefore has innate capacity to cultivate an eternal relationship with Krishna. Seeing that King Prachanabharhi was devoid of this perspective in life due to the influence of ignorance, a lack of knowledge, he mercifully decided to give him instruction. That is the mercy of the devotee. The mercy of the devotee is that he gives instructions to the conditioned soul so that this conditioned soul can come to their eternal relationship with Krishna. And you need something that you can relate to in order to be able to have an impact on Prachanabharhi. Then he created a story which was basically a mirror of Prachanabharhi's own situation. Without using his name, he basically described his situation through an allegory, through a story. And in this way, gradually, King Prachanabharhi, by hearing from Narada Muni, it started to dawn on him, oh, he's talking about me. This is my situation. And he enlightened King Prachinabhatishat in this way. So at this point in the story, Narada is describing the situation of the Atma. Atma in Shastra is a word which is used according to context in different ways. Sometimes the word Atma can refer to Brahman, the qualityless, well, not no qualities, but the aspect of God where he is not displaying all of his personal attributes. So sometimes it can refer to Brahman. Sometimes Atma can refer to Bhagavan, Paramatma, Adiyashwara, the all-pervading, localized Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paramatma. Sometimes Atma is also used in relation to Bhagavan. Atma is also used in Shastra in relation to the individual self. And sometimes in connection to the whole tabernacle of the living entity in the material world. Atma can refer to body, mind, and Jivatma, soul, as a complete unit. So in this way, Atma is, according to the context that the word is used in the Shastra, it can have different meanings. So here Narada is explaining the situation of the Jivatma, the individual living being, the individual spirit soul that resides within the body. Krishna explains, Mamai Vangsa, Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. That the individual living beings, they're Mama Angsa. Angsa means part. Mamai, Krishna says, Mama, mine. They are my parts. Mamai Vangsa, Jiva Loke. He says that the jivas, the individual living beings, are my parts and parcels. This is Jivatma. So that individual living being, spark, I am, the individual conscious self, is a part of Krishna. The pure identity of the self is that it has existence and awareness of itself. That is the constitutional Swarup Lakshana of the Atma, of the soul, with its actual situation as Mamai Vangsa Jiva Loke, it's part of Krishna. So it's constitutionally part and parcel of Krishna. Being part of Krishna, it's constitutionally subservient to Bhagavan, subservient to Krishna. This is the Swarup Lakshana of the Jivatma, that it is part and parcel of Krishna, constitutionally subservient to Krishna. Jivera Swarup, voice Swarup, Mahaprabhu uses this language. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu uses the language. Jivera Swarup Hoy. Swarup here refers to, it is a term of Vedanta. It's a Vedanta philosophical term. Every object is defined by Vedanta philosophy. Every object has a Swarup, a primary characteristic or a set of primary characteristics, and a set of Lakshana, Tatashta Lakshana characteristics, secondary characteristics. There's two sets of characteristics with every object in existence. They have Swarup Lakshana, primary characteristics, and Tatashta Lakshana, secondary characteristics. The Swarup Lakshana of the Jivatma is that it's constitutionally part and parcel of Krishna, and therefore is an eternal servant of Krishna. It has awareness of self. It is aware of its own existence. That is called Gya, knowledge. It's not content knowledge of, here we're talking about the philosophical tattva of the Jivatma, not the location or the experience of an individual Jivatma. We're talking about the pure philosophical concept of the Jivatma. Location and experience are different to the pure philosophical state. This is tattva. It's a philosophical state. It's a pure state of existence defining the object. It's not the location of the object. It's not talking about, it's nothing to do with location. Location is discussed somewhere else. That there's two locations of the jiva. Nityabada jivas are located in Maya Jagat, and Nitya Mukta jivas are located in Swarup Shakti, in the spiritual world. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's description of Jiva Tattva, which is given very clearly in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Lord Chaitanya's instructions to Sanatana and Rupa Goswami, Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapters 19 through to 24. It's a very important section of Chaitanya Charitamrita because it gives the whole synopsis of the Goswami teaching. The essence of Rupa Goswami's literature, Laghu Bhagavatamrita, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Ujjwala Nilamani, are his main books on Tattva, and Sanatana Goswami's Brihat Bhagavatamrita, Hari Bhakti Vilas, his main books, are presented by Krishnadas Kaviraj in Chaitanya Charitamrita, particularly in that section of Rupa and Sanatan Shiksha. He's presenting the essence of Lord Chaitanya's instructions to them, which he then shared with the world through them, through Rupa and Sanatan. So these are the aspects of the jiva, the jivatma, that he is an eternal servant of Krishna, that he has gya, knowledge of self, and he exists, sat. He's in existence. He's aware of his own existence. So he has existence, he has knowledge, and he is an eternal servant of Krishna. And then, depending on the identity of the jiva, where the jiva is situated, he's either experiencing sukha and dukkha in the material world, he's experiencing freedom from material contamination, but not spiritual existence outside of himself, Atmananda. He's experiencing Brahmananda, when he has realized the aspect of God, Brahman, which is God without him displaying his qualities. It's not completely quality. Brahman is never quality less entirely, Shunyavad, because existence is always manifest, and there is no such thing as non-existence. There's always existence. There's no state of non-existence. And even when material qualities are not displayed, then existence is there in the reality, the spiritual existence, Swarup Shakti. But when Krishna, God, does not display his attributes, his qualities, that is Brahman. So the jiva can experience Brahman. And when the jiva experiences Brahman, that's called Brahmananda. The jiva can also experience Paramatma, the aspect of God within Prakriti. So within the material world, the jiva can experience Ananda of Bhagavan, but not his pastimes, not his interactions with his devotees. His all-pervading knowledge of all existence and his all-pervading existence. Jnanananda, Yogananda, knowledge of Parameshwara, experience of Parameshwara. That's another plane of experience that the Jivatma can have. And finally, the Jivatma can experience Bhakti Ananda, spiritual Ananda, which is the Swarup Shakti, Krishna himself and his associates, and all of the objects in the spiritual world, Vaikuntha. And within Bhakti, there are realms of Ananda. There is Vaikuntha, where Lord Narayan is present with Lakshmi and their associates, and the jiva can experience that form of Bhagavan as Narayan. The jiva can experience, which has unlimited varieties, but the prominence is that Bhagavan has opulence and power, and that opulence and majesty of God is at the forefront of the experience. And it's always there, the jiva, the Nitya Mukta jivas, the eternally liberated souls who are in Vaikuntha, they are always appreciating Krishna's majesty and opulence and his great power. And it's present everywhere. Then another realm of Vaikuntha is Ayodhya Dham, where jiva experiences the beauty of Lord Ram. Still, the opulence and majesty is present, but there is an added element of additional sweetness due to the familial relationships that Lord Ram displays with his beloved consort, Sita, with his parents, etc., as associates. So that's a higher realm of Bhakti Ananda. And there is Hastinapur, where Bhagavan is displayed as Krishna, with opulence in association with his associates, the Pandavas. And then there is Dwarka Dham, where Krishna is also displayed in opulence with his associates. And Mathura Dham, where, because Mathura Dham has a connection to Vrindavan Dham, then there is an additional element of sweetness in Mathura. Majesty and opulence is still prominent, but not to the same extent. And finally, there is Vrindavan Dham, where Krishna's sweetness pervades, where Krishna's sweetness pervades, where Krishna's own personal qualities, who he is as a person, as the beautiful, loving son of Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda, as the intimate friend of his suckers, the cowherd boys, as the most worshipable, kind, benevolent object of service from all of his servants, be they same age, older or younger, and most intimately as the greatest lover of Radharani and the gopis. These different displays of Bhagavan, they display more sweetness. The opulence is going into the background. God's power, God's majesty, that is not at the forefront in Vrindavan, it's at the background. Sometimes it comes forward when Krishna does something amazing, like lifts Govardhan Hill, but still, because of the love of the associates in Vrindavan, their love still overpowers. When Mother Yashoda sees Krishna lift the hill, she doesn't think, oh, Krishna's lifting the hill. She's thinking, oh, Bhagavan's arranged for the hill to go up, and look at my wonderful son. He's showing how to hold it up with a stick, and he's being so sweet and kind by trying to lift it. But her love doesn't become compromised by the opulence. Just like when she looked into Krishna's mouth one day when Balaram said that he was eating dirt. And when she looked into his mouth, she actually saw unlimited manifestations of Krishna's energy, all material manifestations, unlimited universes, all within Krishna's mouth. But rather than thinking that Krishna is God and that he is the source of all energy and all power and all creation, rather than thinking that, she thought, oh, I must be having some kind of delirium. There must be some kind of planetary influence, Devata influence, which is obstructing my usual state of seeing. So the associates of Krishna in Vrindavan, the displays of opulence, they never override it never overpowers their love. So therefore, Lord Chaitanya describes Lord Krishna as Swayam Bhagavan, because he displays all of the qualities and attributes of God in full, whereas other forms of the Lord, they don't. You don't see Krishna's sweet pastimes in the form of Lord Narayan. You don't see Krishna's flute playing in the form of Lord Narayan. You don't see the sweetness of Krishna's beauty in the form of Lord Narayan. Venu Madhurya, Leela Madhurya, Krishna's form, Lord Narayan's form, he manifests Chaturbhuja, 4 arms. Krishna's form is very attractive. Tribhanga Rupa, Tribhuvana Sundara, the most attractive form in all of the 3 worlds is Krishna's Tribhanga Rupa, his 3-fold bending form, and his Venu Madhurya, his Rup, his flute playing. So Krishna displays qualities that other forms of the Lord do not, and therefore he is Swayam Bhagavan. He is the original form of Bhagavan. And all other expansions, although non-different from him, there's no such thing as creation, technically, in one sense. Everything is a manifestation. Something becomes manifest and unmanifest. The only temporary item is the karma of the jiva. Everything else is eternal. The karma of the jiva produces temporary objects coming in and disappearing. But even those are quite mind-blowing, manifesting and unmanifesting throughout the yugas. Everything is eternal. But because the karma of the jiva is temporary, the jiva can become free from entanglement in the material world. And how does the jiva become free from material entanglement? By cultivating bhakti. And how to cultivate bhakti? First thing is hearing, by hearing. So therefore Krishna gives Shastra and Krishna sends his associates to preach, to explain about bhakti. And by cultivating bhakti through hearing, then we conditioned souls can cultivate our relationship with Krishna. And the hearing and chanting process culminates in the development of love for Krishna. And when the jiva develops by the mercy of the Lord, prema, then the jiva becomes nitya mukta and is able to return to the Lord's abode according to his sadhana. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains how if you worship Krishna in the form of sadhana as the Lord of Dwarka, then you're a chained Dwarka. If you worship Krishna as the son of Mother Yashoda in your sadhana, then you'll attain Krishna in Vrindavan in your sadhya, perfection. So according to your hearing and according to your cultivation of bhakti, you attain a sadhya, a perfection. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is promoting the realm of Krishna bhakti for relationships that one can cultivate with Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. So here in Srimad Bhagavatam, Narada Muni, seeing King Prachanabhahishat's entanglement in the material energy, he's feeling compassionate and he wants to give him knowledge by which he can cultivate the process of devotional service. And he is doing that very beautifully through an allegorical story, describing the body as the city of 9 gates, which the living being, the soul, resides within. And this verse is describing those 9 gates. 7 on the surface and two below. And Srila Prabhupada is also making connections in his purport to how this same design is used in old Indian cities that would have been designed based around Shilpa Shastra, Vastu Shastra principles. There is a beautiful symmetry and pattern of ultimately Krishna and his primary Shaktis, which, as we try to describe, originate Adi Purusha in Goloka, and that Swayam Bhagavan and his primary Shaktis are manifest there, and they expand all the way through the realms of existence, Vaikuntha Jagat, into the material world. And these same principles of Shakti apply. So our focus is to understand Adi Purusha, Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, because by that then we understand his potency and we can see the connection of all things to Krishna. And the more aligned things are with Shastra, the easier it is to remember Krishna. And the less aligned things are with Shastra, and the more they're influenced by the modes of nature, the harder it is to see the connection with Krishna. But the Vedic knowledge and Vedic culture is very astounding because it is a manifestation of Krishna. Vedanta Krit Vedavit Eva Chaham. Krishna manifests through Shastra, and when everything is done according to Shastra, Krishna is manifest. So, thank you all very much for your kind attention. We'll finish there. Does anyone have any comments or questions? Jai Srila Prabhu, do you have any comments? Thank you. Thank you for your, as usual, demonstration of Vaishnava qualities, encouraging people. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. Hare Krishna. Oh, I see. Yeah. Hmm. So, in one sense, yes, in the sense that we were talking about Bal Gopal. Yeah. So Adi Purusha is Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appreciated the verse of Raghupati Upadhyaya, which is in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Shamam eva param rupam. Shamam eva param rupam. Puri madhu puri vara. The madhu puri is Sham, form of Shamasundar is param rup, the highest form, the supreme form. The place Madhupuri is vara, is superlative, the highest place. Puri madhu puri vara. Kaishorakam param dhyaya, the form of Kaishor Krishna. Kaishor Krishna is Kaishorakam param dhyaya, is the form that one should meditate upon. Kaishorakam param dhyaya, adya eva paro rasaha. The adi rasa, the conjugal rasa, madhura rasa, is adi rasa. So the understanding of adi rasa is very important. Adya rasa paro. Kaishorakam param dhyaya, adya eva paro rasaha. Adya eva paro rasaha. So adi rasa, adi is a philosophical term. It means the origin of a category of objects. So adi, something that is adi, that is the origin of all of the objects in that category. So Krishna is adi purusha. Ultimately, there's only one category of objects, Krishna. Everything's Krishna, ultimately. Adya eva paro rasaha. But in terms of adi rasa, conjugal rasa is considered adi rasa because it contains all of the other rasas. It's all in there. So you take out the affection between male and female, you have vatsalya. You take out the affection between an elder and a junior, you have sakya. You take out the affection between equals, you have dasya. So adi rasa. So Krishna's Kaishor form, it contains all of the rasas. So when Mother Yashoda's worshipping Krishna, her Vatsalya Bhav is fully reciprocated with in Kaishor Krishna because it's the origin of all of the rasas. It's fully reciprocated with there. And Krishna's Balya Leela is manifest in Vrindavan. So Bhauma Vrindavan is a manifestation, Prakat Dham. It's a manifestation of Braj. It's a manifestation of Aprakat Braj. You can't say it's not there. It's not in Aprakat because it's a manifestation of Aprakat. But it's manifest in Bhauma Vrindavan throughout material creations. So those Leelas are also all eternal. The Bhauma Vrindavan Leela is all eternal. It's always going on. Every instance of every Leela is eternal. This is a Chincha Shakti of Krishna Leela. So it's all eternal. Every Leela is eternal. It's all manifest. Where is it manifest? It's manifest in Vrindavan. Some is manifest in Prakat Dham, Bhauma Vrindavan. Some is manifest in Aprakat Dham. In Aprakat Dham, Kaishura age, Shama age, Adirasa is the predominant, but everything is in there. So in Madhya Yashoda is all, when we talk about Madhya Yashoda, she's Shakti Tattva. So she is inconceivable, unlimited manifestations of Madhya Yashoda manifest in all of Krishna's Leela in Prakat and Aprakat Dham. So in her being is all of that experience. So when Madhya Yashoda is performing Balya Leela with Krishna, that is eternal. And that's always going on. That's there in her. And that's in Vrindavan. So we're coming from our conditioned state and we see one place is here. This is a location. We're in Auckland. Auckland is different from Wellington. The two places don't exist simultaneously on the same plane of existence. That's not the spiritual reality. Advaya. The spiritual reality is that is one plane of existence. And there are simultaneous manifestations all going on simultaneously. Now, how do you explain that to a 9-year-old? Good luck, Prabhu. But yeah, you can. Yeah, so that is Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupam. Advaitam, Achyutam. So this is, Brahma Samhita. Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupam. Anantarupa, unlimited forms. Advaita, they're all non-different. They're all non-different. So that's the tattva. So in terms of thinking about it like here and there, Balya Leela is manifest in Vrindavan, yes. It's manifest in Bhauma Vrindavan, Prakat Leela. But the associates, as there is Advaitam Achyutam, unlimited manifestations of Krishna, Ananta Rupa, all of his Shaktis there's also unlimited manifestations of his Shakti. It's all Ananta Rupa. There's not one Mother Yashoda that's there and another Mother Yashoda that's here. While she's there, she's not here. Not like that. These are Shaktis of Krishna. Wherever there's Krishna, that's where they are. They're always with him. They are part of him. They're not inseparable from him. They're Swarup Shakti. Simultaneously one and different from Krishna. So planes of existence. We're talking about planes of existence. So a jiva who is attached to that form of Balya Krishna, Balarup Krishna, they can attain that plane and reside there eternally if that's what they want. But that's not Lord Chaitanya's recommendation. Shamam eva param rupam. Kaishorakam param dhyeya. He says that we should meditate on. Prabhupada makes good emphasis of that on the last verse of 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the purport. He explains that the object of our worship is Shyamasundar Krishna, Kaishora Krishna, because this is Lord Chaitanya's teaching. So it's a very long answer to a very advanced question from a very advanced soul. Okay, anything else? What's your name? Hasnain. Where are you from? You're from Bangladesh. Ah, good. Okay, nice to meet you. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Sparks. Yes. Okay. Yeah, good. That's a good question. So Rupa Goswami explains this in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which Srila Prabhupada gives us as nectar of devotion. So if you have you heard of that book, Nectar of Devotion? You got a copy? Yeah, you should get a copy of Nectar of Devotion. It's a very important book. So in there, 64 qualities of Bhagavan, Sri Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan are explained. And he explains there how the first 55 qualities apply to both the Jivatma and Bhagavan. And Rupa Goswami Srila Prabhupada, he explains how that works. So the general example, like you gave, sparks and the fire, that's high level example. And then if you want the details, you can go there, Nectar of Devotion, to find out how is it that those attributes of the Lord are manifest in the Jiva. But the principle is that they manifest to a very, 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 very tiny, tiny degree. Yeah. So Nityabhada Jivas, their manifest is through Prakriti to a tiny extent. And even Nitya Mukta Jivas that display the attributes of the Lord in Swarup Shakti, in the internal potency, they're also still not to the same extent as Krishna. Yeah. So it's a wonderful topic. So that's my recommendation, is that you study that part of the Shastra. The nectar of instruction, nectar of devotion, qualities of Krishna. There you'll get an explanation of how is it that those attributes or qualities, characteristics, these are all synonyms, talking about the same thing, are displayed in the jiva. But the essence is that they're very minutely displayed. They've got a very small quantity, percentage of those qualities, which are Bhagavan's own qualities. All qualities are Bhagavan. Every quality is a manifestation of Krishna's Shakti. That's why there are qualities in existence. Characteristics, hardness, color, form, everything that we're surrounded by. This is all characteristic, all existence. Existence is comprised of characteristics, attributes. Those are Shaktis of Krishna. First, they belong to his personality and they manifest as his Shaktis. Yeah, in nature, material nature, spiritual nature. But everything is a manifestation of Krishna. We've got a very small, tiny manifestation of some of 55 of Krishna's qualities. Yeah, not all of them. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a wonderful philosophy. It takes great study. Yeah, so read the Shastra on that topic, qualities of Krishna, nectar of devotion, and you'll get some more clarity around these attributes. Is that helpful? Okay. Matthew. Yeah. Yeah, I was saying that, yes, sure, thank you. Yeah, I was saying that the more things are aligned with Shastra, the more you can remember Krishna more easily. And I was connecting this point here in Srila Prabhupada's purport, where he's talking about 9 gates in cities, in architecture, to the 9 gates of the body. I was saying how there's symmetry and pattern in Krishna's Shaktis, in Krishna's way of, in Krishna. So the primary Shaktis are manifest in the spiritual world, and then they manifest in, well, they manifest in Golok, they manifest in Mathura, they manifest in Dwarka, they manifest in Ayodhya, they manifest in Vaikuntha, they manifest in the material world. So the way it comes through into the material world is through Shastra, and the Shastras say, design a city like this, you know, Vastu Shastra, Shilpa Shastra. So the placement of objects is all according to the Shaktis of Krishna, the Shaktis of Bhagavan, so that things are properly designed, properly aligned with Krishna's Shakti. So there's a wonderful symmetry and pattern and consistency to Krishna's way of being. It's how he is. It's reality. It's Krishna. So when things are aligned with Shastra, then if you have knowledge of Krishna and his Shakti, then you see, oh yeah, this is a manifestation of that. And then you can remember Krishna, because you're seeing how everything is in connection to Krishna. So I was making that point that when things like objects, design, aligned with Shastra, then absorption in Krishna, remembrance of Krishna is kind of facilitated. Everything works more nicely. That was the context of my point. So how do we align our lives with Shastra? Through Guru. Through Guru. That's how we align our lives with Shastra. We don't take Shastra separately from Guru. The purpose of Guru is to teach Shastra. That is what the Guru is for. The Guru is a teacher of Shastra. How do you learn the emphasis in Shastra? How do you learn how to apply the teachings of Shastra? That comes from Guru. Yeah. So how do we learn to align our lives with Shastra? We have to align our lives with Guru Mukha Padma Vakya, Chitte Kariya Aikya. Chitte, consciousness, Kariya Aikya. I make my consciousness Aikya, one with Guru Mukha Padma Vakya, with the words that emanate from the lotus mouth of spiritual master. We sing it every day. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya. Chitte Kariya Aikya. Aikya is Bengali, means ek, one. Aikya. I make my chitta, my consciousness, my life, myself, one with the instructions of my Guru, which come from his mouth. Guru teaches Shastra. So that's the only way to align ourselves with Shastra. There's no other way to, we can't just, to access Shastra, you need a teacher. Guru is a teacher. So that's how we align ourselves with Shastra, through the Guru. Prabhu? Last one, Prabhu. Yeah. Yeah. Good question. Yeah, this is discussed in detail by the acharyas and the commentaries on this. I've read them lots of times. Now I'm asked to give an answer and I'm struggling. So some things I know. That's Mathura Dham. Krishna manifests there as Vasudeva. He displays his opulence because of the bhav of Devaki. Devaki's bhav has Aishwarya in it. So he manifests according to the mood of his devotees. Yeyatamam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajameham. According to how you do bhajan, according to how you worship me, bhaj means worship, according to how you worship me, I reciprocate accordingly. So because they're Aishwarya Gyan Bhaktas, they have that mood of Aishwarya Gyan in their bhakti. He manifests to them as that initially. And then his leela is that he then goes to Braj. Now, this is where the Gaudiya Siddhanta of Rupa and Sanatana Lord Chaitanya comes in, because they explain that when Vasudeva Krishna was brought by, when Vasudeva brought Vasudeva to Golok, to Gokul, sorry, then Krishna was there. Mother Yashoda had given birth to twins, and in the ecstasy of her birth, she was unconscious. She was in ecstasy, and because this is all Leela. This has nothing to do with anything to do with. This has nothing to do with anything to do with material bodies. This is all Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikriti is all transformations of Swarup Shakti. It's all spiritual potency at play, Leela. So Vasudeva didn't see Braj Krishna because Vasudeva doesn't have Braj Bhakti. He has Mathura Bhakti with Aishwarya Gyan. He didn't see Braj Krishna on the bed. He placed Krishna down. He's actually Swayam Bhagavan is all of the forms of Krishna are manifest in Swayam Bhagavan. All of the avatars, all of his personal expansions, Vaibhav, Prabhav, they're all in him. So Vasudeva Krishna enters Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, and he's there, and he takes the daughter, goes back. So you can read, yeah. So this is the understanding. That answer the question? No. Okay, Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Jai Sitanath.